Hi, good afternoon and welcome to Tuesdays with Fran. Today,
Anelo.
with Elo.
Good afternoon.
So,
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our, let's not say Halloween because we don't celebrate Halloween,
no.
but today we're going to be talking about death, which is kind of strange because it's one of the topics that nobody wants to talk about, but not a problem.
Sorry.
So we have come to the Pamplona's graveyard, and we are going to see. I mean, they told us they close at 6:30, and they're closing right away. Yeah. So we're going to see what happens.
Sorry.
Not big deal. So today we're not going to be seeing beautiful sights or things like that. We're going to be sharing a little bit of our culture, our relationship with death. So first, hola Susie. First, when you come into Pamplona's cemetery, you are welcome by...
This is where we are.
This is where we are, exactly.
Yes. I don't know if you have said
Yes, so we are in Pamplona's graveyard cemetery. It is called San Jose, St. Joseph. And we are welcomed by this sculpture called Life and Death. It was designed by a local artist called Ramon Arcaya. And what we see here, it is, let's say, Rodin's thinker, thinking about death, and underneath him there is this sculpture of a young man dead. Okay, so what we see here in this sculpture, it is the thinker, Rodin's thinker. He is strong, powerful, and he's being born from the stone, and he's thinking about death of this young man who is melted into the stone. So we can do everything, and everything has a meaning, and everything has a change, except death. No matter what we do, death will always be there for us, waiting. So that is what welcomes, what greets you with us. Hola.
Yo no entiendo nada
Sí.
inglés y eso. Este lo hizo un escultor navarro.
Sí, Arcaya. Sí. Ya se lo hemos dicho. Estamos bien. Gracias.
Gracias.
Vale,
Nada,
hasta ahora.
gracias.
Okay, she just wanted to point it out that the sculpture was done by a local artist. Like, yeah, we just said it, lady. Anyway.
I don't understand English, but you
But-
know.
So, welcome to our graveyard, our cemetery, Pamplona Cemetery. This cemetery was constructed in 1808, which it's kind of late, but you have to think that here in Spain we were allowed to bury people until 1787. At that moment in Spain we had a king, Charles IV,
Into the church.
into the church. Oh yes,
Yeah.
sorry, bury into the churches. And the King Charles IV of Spain, he's the one that set a rule saying that no more we were allowed to bury people inside of churches, and all the cemeteries had to be open air and outside of the cities. Okay, so that was the new modern way of designing all of these cemeteries all around Spain. Yes, so it was just to have air, open air, for health issues. Right? So that was the reason why the King Charles IV of Spain did it. So what about the tradition of the death here, especially in Navarra, the Basque country? We were debating, Ella and I, we were talking that the relationship with death here is very close. It's part of life, so it's not a big deal, let's put it that way. And depending on each village, the tradition is a little bit different. For example, back then in time, everybody had to be mourned inside of the houses, and the way of, probably the most peculiar thing is how the body was transported to the to the cemetery. In her village, in Ochagavía, the tradition was that starting from the north of the village, the northern part of the village, the first four houses would carry the corpse. Other places, it was the four houses on the direction from the house of the dead to the cemetery they would be the ones porting the body. So it is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Also, the issue with the bees, okay, the beehives and everything. When especially the master of the house dies, the family goes to the beehives not to collect honey, it is to collect the wax.
Yeah.
And it was to collect the wax to make one style of candles, that all the wax was collected, and as long as that candle was lit, it was the time how long the mourning of the death would take place. And your family, you were telling me about your when your great grandmother died.
Yes, it is supposed that someone dies, the rest of the family need to dress in black.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and when my mother's grandmother,
So
yes, so many time ago,
a
yes,
long time ago.
died, his aunt, yes,
Aunt?
yes, take all my mother's clothes and
Dye them? Dye
in
them?
black, yes, completely in black.
But she was 10 years old.
Yes, 9 years old. I
9
think.
years old.
Yeah, and he need to wear everything in black.
That's-
Not only clothes,
the shoes, the stockings,
everything,
the whole
everything.
thing.
And when he goes back home with my grandmother, with her mother, my grandmother says, "This is a stupid thing because she's only 10, she's only 9, and he throw all these clothes,
all the
to
black clothes.
Yes, and he buy for new ones." Yes.
So there are some rebel mamas around.
Yes, the problem is that my grandmother was really rebel.
Well, I guess what you take
always
for.
were in problem with the priest.
Yes. So that is one of the things. The other thing we want to talk is about how about death today. Okay, let's turn the camera around so we can see. By the way, it's raining, so
Yes.
a little bit.
I have opened the umbrella.
The umbrella, as you can
This
hear.
is the sound. Okay.
So, according to big numbers today, here in Spain, 70% of the population will get cremated. 20% of the people want to be buried in niches. Okay, you know, in this. Okay, 9% in family pantheons, and only a 1% in the soil, in the ground. Okay,
Yeah,
this is what I.
happens.
This is what I
Really.
call
Yes.
the niche. I don't know how. Well, I think it's called pronounced niche. Okay,
And
so
in the village, in my village, we are still burying people.
most of the people in the
It's
soil,
most
on the ground.
All the people.
Everybody.
Yes,
Okay.
everybody.
So
And you know, the place where you are going to be buried belongs to the house you came from. Okay, this is important, at least in the north of Navarra, because you belong to a house.
Mhm.
Everything is your house, and
even your final house, your final home,
Yes.
it belongs to the family. So it's like a
it belongs to the house.
the house for
the
us.
house and the place in the cemetery, and this place is going to be for your family or for the family who is the owner of the house. If you sell the house, it's going to be
With
the,
you?
Yes.
So,
Are you available?
no, I think it's not raining. You're right. It was just a couple of drops. So the thing is that what I was going to say. One of the things that I don't know if everywhere around the world it is the same or not. Here, only the funeral homes can transport corpse. Okay, you cannot transport a dead person by yourself.
No.
There's only one exception.
Esto es lógico.
Yeah, it's kind of logical, but I think there's only one
Sorry.
exception, which is that if the person that has died is an organ donor, then the body can be transported by an ambulance. So as you
I
can,
didn't know that.
Mhm.
Yes, I didn't know
so
that.
as you can imagine, then the funeral homes are necessary in Spain. And when somebody dies in Spain, you go to a funeral house and they take care of absolutely everything. They take care of the transport, the obituary, the coffin, the makeup. Do you know the name of the people? What is the job of the people who puts
not
makeup?
in English, no? But I know that-
Thanatopraxis.
Yes.
Yeah, isn't
And
that like
there
a
is
weird?
lot of, you can study.
Yeah. Huh.
And it's quite easy to find this kind of job, okay?
Kind
No
of
hay
weird.
mucho paro.
Well, there's always work for that.
Yes.
Anyway, besides that, the funeral home will take also care of the taxes. And that is something that, researching for today's topic, I've been shocked that in Spain, when you die, everything related with death, it has a 21% VAT taxes, while in the rest of Europe it's only a 4%, and in some countries sometimes it has zero taxes.
It is supposed that the 21 is for luxury products.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I guess in Spain, when you pay a 21%, it's for luxury products, and I guess death is a luxury thing. So as you can imagine, it is expensive.
It is really expensive.
To die
and
in Spain.
This is a problem for many families to pay a
funeral and the
yes,
whole
and
thing.
everything. Yes, you need to pay at the end of everything. You are really sad, and you have to pay a big amount of money,
A lot of money.
and probably you don't have it.
So the minimum that you can pay for a funeral, it is about 3,000 euros. Okay,
But the standard
The
is
standard,
a little bit more.
it's
yes,
we have research, and it is 6,000 euros. The normal
more or less.
funeral, all
Without
the
luxury,
whole thing,
you
without
know,
luxuries.
with
From there,
normal
you can go
things.
up as much as you want. Okay. One of the most expensive things that you can do is to mourn the death in your own house. Okay. There's not a law that it has to be done in the funeral home, but it has to be arranged by the funeral home. And if you mourn the person in your house, you cannot just put the coffin and that's it. No, you have to get a refrigerated camera, so that is even more expensive. So in some villages, people kind of not do it 100% correctly, but that is one of the most important things, that
Yes.
if you do it, you have to do it with health regulations and everything. Okay, so that is a very important thing. What else? What about if you don't have
Yeah.
anybody to take care of you? There's no light, sorry. Let me turn this
Yeah.
around.
Tú sabes que no es
Okay.
muy buena idea. Se está haciendo de
I know,
noche y
this is,
estamos en un
we're in
cementerio.
cemetery and it's
It's getting
night
dark
is
and
coming.
we are in a cemetery. It is not a good idea. Eh?
So, what happens if you don't have anybody to take care of you? Well, what happens is that the city will pay for everything. Okay. What about if you don't have money? If you have family, but you don't have money to pay for it? Well, I didn't know that one either. That there is a social, when you can donate money for other people's funerals, which I think
knew
is
that.
pretty cool. You knew that? I had
I
no
knew
idea.
that because in my village there is an elder house, and there were a lady who didn't have no one, no family, no one, and this was the way
They did it?
yes.
Wow.
And she got buried in a cemetery in a communal place.
I had
Yeah.
no idea about that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And you know, for that,
For
you
the-
need to make a contract.
if you
You rent
if you
them.
if you
This
go
is
to
not
how do you say it? The niche.
I don't know
You
how
don't owe them. You
No,
rent
this
them
is
for
a
an
rent.
amount 10 years,
10 years, and you can rent it for another 10 years.
and
more.
then
You need to put your families out of the niche, and you need to get it then out.
yeah.
You know,
So that's another
they
thing.
give you a house, a boss. Yes.
You do whatever you want to do with grandpa. Anyway, the other
Mira.
thing that is very important is that now more and more we're having people from different religions, and especially Muslims here in Spain is a very large population. So here in in Pamplona's graveyard, we have accommodated one part for Muslims to be buried in the proper way, okay, facing Mecca and everything,
Yeah.
which I think is
And
pretty
year
cool.
by year, there is more people who get
Yeah.
cremated.
Cremated. So,
And everything. Yes.
And anyway,
Things are changing.
the most important mausoleum that we have in Pamplona's cemetery, it's this one that we want to finish here.
I think it's not as spectacular as the one of Gallarre.
Yes, I mean we saw the one of Gallarre in Roncal. This one
I
is
think this
not
is
as
so spectacular,
no.
but it's
So Abby's asking, there are no. You get everything from your niche? Yes, Susan.
Yeah.
You're right. Exactly. I mean, it's horrible. It's like maximum 20 years. And Abby, no, here in Pamplona we do not have a special cemetery for Jews or Muslims or any other religions or Buddhists, whatever. Everybody's buried by law in here or in the villages, but there are different parts inside of the how do you say, in the graveyard, in the cemetery, where it's only for them. Okay, so it's not one separated, everybody's together, but in different parts.
Y no solo los musulmanes, any different religions, los ateos.
Yes.
Yes.
What about atheists, people who don't believe in any religion? So so there's also a place for them. So it's kind of complicated. So it's, well, anyway, so we were talking about this. Yes, let's get out of here. It's getting too dark. So this is the funeral place, or the resting place, of the most important violin player of all times. His name was Pablo Sarasate. He was born here in Pamplona in 1844. He died in 1908. He was really the most important violin player, at least at his time. Okay, and as you can see, here we have his violin all wrapped up with bay leaf. The bay leaf is because it represents success. Okay, he was probably the most successful artist of his time.
Yes.
So, our friends, it's our time to go, because really it's getting super dark.
Yes.
And
they are going to close.
They're going to close.
Yes.
They're going to close like no time. So thank you for joining in. Hopefully you have learned a little bit about our funeral traditions here in Spain.
And everything was because yesterday was
Todos los Santos, All Saints, not Halloween for us.
Every year we came to the cemeteries to give them some
respect
flowers
and
memories and everything.
So thank you everybody for joining. We always say that all of these presentations, tours are tip supported. If you want to leave us a tip, thank you very much. If you cannot support us with that, the other thing you could do, I would really love it if you could do it, is share this video so more people can see it and learn about Spain and Spanish traditions. Hello, thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure.
Yes.
Strange. Well, let's not say pleasure here.
No,
thank you everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. We'll see you on Sunday cooking at home with Ainhoa. Bye bye.
See you next time.
See you next time. Well, we'll see when you come back.
Yes. I don't know.
Bye bye.